Fishy jerks, fishy jerks.
Every one
Thank
of
you.
them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Priscilla? Hey, hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, Tommy. Hi, Silver Creek. For the longest time, I had a very hard time saying your name. It was
I
always
changed it for like 24 hours.
It was like Silva Creek, or I don't remember what I called you, but it was never, I could never do it. It's like Crypt Keeper. I have a problem with Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
It's all about
a lot too.
Enunciation. Silver Creek Aquatics. Hey, everybody. So again, the whole first part of the show, Tommy and I were just going to have a conversation. We're not going to be looking at the chat whatsoever. In fact, I'm going to close it down so I don't even, it's not, because it's so distracting. I love watching what you guys say. So I'm going to close it down. I'm not even going to see it at all. And we're just going to have a conversation. But then the second half, we'll open it up and let you guys ask questions to learn more about Tommy too. And mods, if you would, please, again, because I can't see the chat. So people will be coming in and saying hi or asking questions, and they're going to feel like they're ignored. So please just let them know. Just remind them that we can't even see the chat, and we'll open it up after the first bit there. So there it goes. Bye-bye, chat. Chat's gone. It's just you and me now.
Yeah.
I think we're alone now.
What should we do?
Well, you rubbed my shoulder earlier. That was nice.
Are you ready for jumping jacks yet? You want to go do karate in the garage? No.
My stomach will hurt. The belly, it's a big belly. So that gravity, every time you do jumping jacks, there's a lot. It's like, a woman running without a sports bra. It's the same kind of thing,
I've got it. Monster movie improv.
Oh, monster movie improv.
Mm-hmm.
Start it off for us. What does that mean?
I don't know. That was a weird combination. Don't throw me on the spot.
It's your baby. You got to run with it.
I can't run with that baby.
All right. So, Tommy, can I call you Tommy?
Yeah.
Can I call you Thomas?
Yeah.
Can I call you Thom?
Yes.
That's how my brother spells his name. His name is Tom, but he spells it Thom.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath. Don't do that.
A lot of things.
I bet. I can tell. Your face looks like one of those guys that I would call a lot of things. You just have that vibe.
It has. So I actually have a lot of people come up to me all the time and are convinced that I'm their long lost cousin or their physical therapist from 10 years ago or something.
I get that too. You know what? And the guy's name is almost always like Mike or Mark.
I've got a lot of Marks. Yeah.
It's so weird. So same thing. It happens to me a lot. I go out and somebody will say, hey, or they'll just say they know it's not me, but they'll say something like, he looks just like Mark. And I'm like, Mark's my brother, or something. You live close to Dallas in Texas, right? Close to Dallas, Fort Worth?
Yeah. From Dallas, I'm probably about an hour and a half. From Fort Worth, I'm 22 miles west of there. Okay. There's a big lake that borders the edge of where Fort Worth city limit is, Eagle Mountain Lake, and I'm on the other side of that lake.
Do they call it Gitchagumi?
Oh, I wish. That'd be a lot better than what they actually call it.
You know what that's from? The big lake they call Gitchagumi. Okay. It's the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by oh my God. By people in chat are already saying it. Right. One of my favorites. He's Canadian. He sings Sundown. He sings, and I forgot his name. So I'm going to turn in my card now. I'm no longer a folk fan. Anyways, it
was karma for throwing me on the spot about the monster improv.
It was. We're even now though. So, and you obviously are a Texas boy, born and raised. You can just tell. You haven't lived anywhere else. Have you spent any extended time anywhere else?
Not really. We travel, but we haven't ventured outside of the Americas yet.
America or North America, South? Because you said
Americas. Americas. Okay. Yeah, we've gone to Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula on cruises and stuff like that. We frequent Colorado. We've been to Vegas and all of the stops in between there. We go rock hounding quite often in Arkansas, up in the mountains in Arkansas, where you better pack you a lunch because nobody's ever open.
Oh, really? People, isn't that where I think that's where John Oliver lives, right? I think he's in Arkansas.
Yeah,
I think so.
Beautiful place.
But the stores aren't open, or the restaurants?
Yeah,
or?
I think it's actually like the same thing as my town. Like Sunday and Monday, they roll up the sidewalks.
Oh, gotcha.
On Sunday and Monday both. So like you're, in the Monday grind, getting ready to go out for work and forgot this and forgot that because it's Monday. So you stop by the store, try to grab you some breakfast, and your favorite like 3 spots are closed because the owners work in that town as well. And they're like, no, we're not going to open on Monday because y'all suck and we don't, and we're taking the day off.
Gotcha.
No,
and it's sort of
I don't mind it.
It's sort of that way here. We sort of have that
small town like USA problems.
Yeah, but in the summertime, it's not like that. Summertime, everything's open because there's a lot of tourists and stuff. But the wintertime, it's like that. Everything closes up. Some of the restaurants and stuff even close up for the entire winter. They're gone.
Yeah.
So I get that.
For sure.
Out of all those places you traveled, is there any place that really stood out as some place that if you did leave Texas, you would like to stay for a while? Is there any place that really spoke to you?
Well, I still want to go back up to the Northeast. I went up to the DC area and did like the full Washington DC tour when I was like 12 years old. And that has stuck in my memory so well, like how much I remember of it. And it's something that I've really wanted to share with my family as well, because they haven't been to that side of the country yet or seen any of that area up there, especially during the fall when all of the colors are out and beautiful, which I'm sure the people that live there don't think of it that way because they're used to seeing it, but I'm not. So it was absolutely gorgeous. So we're wanting to go up there. I was wanting to use Keystone Clash as an excuse to take like a week-long or week and a half vacation up in that area and be like, hey, we're going to go do some sightseeing too. So like the National Aviary is not far from where the Clash is, so we were definitely going to go to that. And then there's some good rock digging. I think some amethyst hunting you can do in the area, which is cool because that's my birthstone.
It is a beautiful area, and it's where Morgantown is a lot like where I live too. I mean, it's the same type of terrain and everything. It's absolutely beautiful up here too. And you're more than welcome to come up this way and see some sights. I don't know if you guys are into wine or anything, but there's, wine tours all over the place and breweries and stuff. If you're into any of that, there's also tons of nature stuff, tons of, hiking and all that kind of stuff. So if you ever, keep that in mind. If you need a guide for the upstate New York area, I'm your guy.
I got you. I'll take you up on that. Everybody that's ever said that, if I make it to that state, I message them and be like, hey, I'm here. Where do I need to stop? You got me a list ready yet? No. I had a guy I sold a car to one time. I told him about the places that I traveled, and he was like, oh, I know every great place to eat along that whole route. So I called him and he sent me a text message of like all of the different places where they're located and all of this. And man, he was right. It was some great food. Like one of the best pizzas I had in Colorado was Mountain High Pies in not Breckenridge. It's going to come to me in a little bit, but I can't remember it right now.
Boulder?
No.
Another B?
It was a silver mining city, and it's way up in elevation. And there is a beautiful, beautiful train tour that you can do around the city and learn about, where the silver mines were. But just seeing the mountains and, the huge drop offs beside you that, pull your heart out of your chest a little bit.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I cannot believe I can't remember the name of the town.
If Geek Boy's here, he knows it. Unfortunately, Beck's taken some time off, but she would definitely know. They live in Colorado and get out.
They know Mountain High Pie. They know where it's at.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to be a letdown, though. That sounds like a lot of pressure now. I'm going to take back my offer because I don't leave the house. So, if you want to go hiking, I can tell you some nice, easy hikes or some, pretty decent hikes. If you want to go kayaking, I'm your guy. But if you want a restaurant, I got no clue. That all tastes the same to me. I'm okay with McDonald's or something Shez. I don't know. Shay whatever.
Yeah.
Fancy. I was trying to go with something fancy. It wasn't working.
No, we're completely good. Like most of the time when we go to places, we center it around what the nature is around it and what the hiking is or the difficulty of it. Now we're getting into where we can do things, a little bit more fun for adults because the kids are getting a little bit older. But yeah, we love that kind of thing. If it's being out in nature in any way, we're down for it. Even if it just means sitting on a park bench watching the ocean for hours.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love doing that. It's my thing, man. Just being outside, just being outdoors, away from buildings and such. Well, you kept saying we, so let's talk about that. So you're married and you have 2 kids?
I have 3.
3 kids. Sorry, 3 kids. And what's your current configuration with the children? What do you got? Boys, girls?
2 girls, 1 boy. The boy's the youngest at 8, and then 10 and 12 years old.
He's ruined.
He is.
The baby of the family, 2 older sisters. Yeah, he's going to have it rough. Poor kid.
That was me too. My sister was 6.5 years older than me.
Yeah? One sister.
Just the one sister that I lived with. I still have siblings I haven't met yet.
Oh, okay. How many?
1 immediate from my father, but he was adopted, and there's like a whole nother side that
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll put on my salesman shoes again and try to sell them into actually making contact with me again. But the last time we tried, they wanted nothing to do with it, which I don't blame them. I mean, I could bring up painful memories. So.
Oh, sure. But still, family, I guess, is nice to get to meet. Not that you have to, continue to hang out with them, but just to meet that first time.
But yeah, I have 2 other sisters. From my father, different mothers, and 2 other brothers as well. And one of the brothers I haven't met. One of my sisters I've only met once for about an hour and a half, and it was like looking in the mirror, but a female version without a beard. And it was like that moment that you want to do karate in the garage. It's like, we just became best friends. But she lives
but you haven't seen her. Oh, she lives far away. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, but you haven't seen her. Those are all from your dad. He gets around.
Yeah. He got around. He's the father of this nation, man.
So how many total kids does he have then? I didn't keep track of all of them that you're aware of.
So that I'm aware of, I think 6. It's not too bad.
In this day and age, it's a lot, but 50 years ago, it wasn't that, out of the ordinary. There was a lot of big families back then.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of big families around here.
And was he Texas born and raised too? Do you know? You said he was adopted, so
he was adopted. The mother, his biological mother, lived in Elyria, Ohio, if I remember correctly. Anybody from Ohio, I'm long lost family members. And was adopted through some branch of the church trust of Czechoslovakia. Oh. It was a real hush adoption. Nobody wanted anybody to know that the mother was pregnant, and she ended up finding refuge within the church. And yeah, it was, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird.
Yeah. Back in those days.
Yeah. And I think his biological mother was a big part of that church as well. And so were my grandparents, sorry, that adopted him. So
you have Czechoslovakian blood, at least on the one side, then, like our friend Ed.
Yep. Yeah, Czech, and the majority of the people with my last name are in the Ukraine at the moment.
Okay.
They're on the I can't remember the town. It's on the far northwest border. I think just north of where Poland is. Whatever, I can't remember what's just north of Poland, but it's on that border.
I feel like somehow did you do a video about this or something, or maybe a live stream where you talked? It sounds so familiar now where you talked about this, right?
Yeah, I've talked about it before. I don't know if it was probably on a live stream and probably in chat too. I'm an open book. Somebody brings something up, I'm like, here, I'm gonna spill my guts.
Well, that makes you perfect for these, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to get to know everybody. That's the thing about these, right? Is just digging in and learning more about people. So I think it cuts down on misunderstandings and letting people get to know where you're coming from. Because a lot of times we only have text to rely on, and they don't really know. So being able to dig in, I think, helps to alleviate some of that. And it's a double-edged sword, though, because now I bet you there's at least one person out there that totally hates you already.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm fine with it. It's okay. There's got to be a balance in the universe, I guess.
I'm just kidding.
I've had a couple of haters in my comments before, but I've left them on there. I've left their comments on there. I'm like, no, you get to come back in a couple of years when your reminders pop up and remember how much of a butthole you were.
I just delete them and move along. I don't even give it a second thought. Cut down on the negativity. I enjoy keeping things positive. So yeah, how long have you been married then?
10 years. 10 years we've been married.
Okay.
I had to think about what year it was.
Yeah. I think this is like 2020 part 4, isn't it? Part 3?
I think it is. Yeah, squared. Yeah. Part 4 squared. Yeah.
10 years.
Groundhog Day, man.
10 years. And what is it Jason said? Depths unknown. He said something on a card to his wife. It was something like, and no end in sight or something. It was something, I believe it was like his 10th anniversary. He gave her a card, and on the card it said something like, here's to 10 years and no end in sight, or something. I mean, it was, sort of, wait a minute, what are you saying here? I wish I could remember exactly what it was.
I like
but it
that.
made me laugh.
It's snide and beautiful at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I wish I could remember. I think that was right about the time he ate her chocolate from her birthday. So
ate her chocolate.
He's got a lot of those stories too.
Oh,
so what do you do for a living? I honestly have no idea.
Nothing.
You're a homesteader.
We did. I was into cars. I did all things cars. I started in working on cars, and then ended up being a service writer at a mechanic shop. Ended up being running a mechanic shop, being a manager of one. And a friend of mine from Pakistan, Asher, pulled me aside one day and was like, dude, he was like, you know way too much about cars. You know way too much about people. He was like, why are you messing around with working on cars? You should be selling these things. He was like, go sell some Lamborghini, some Lexus, go sell something. And so I did. I took his advice and jumped from there and went into car sales and did that for like 6 years and worked my way up the ladder on it as well. I was never great, but I was good. I definitely made ends meet and made enough to where I was able to make some very, very smart financial decisions that put us in a position to where I can stay home now. So,
gotcha. Okay.
But after I got out of car sales, because it finally ate at my soul enough that I couldn't sleep.
I was going to
at
ask.
night. And what did me in was my mind was completely out of it. I came home one night and my daughter looked at me and didn't recognize me. I could see it all over her face. And I'd never felt so heartbroken in my life. I never felt like I wanted to cry as much in my life as when that happened, and still feeling the feels from it. But that was it. That was the end. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like,
how old was she when that happened?
She was, so that was between 3 and 5 years old that we lived there. So
gotcha. Okay.
It was sometime in between then. A lot of that's a blur because I've pushed a lot of it out.
It was because you were gone so much at work.
Yep. I worked 6 days a week, and sometimes I would get there, at 8 o'clock in the morning and not leave until 3 o'clock in the morning the next day. So
Jesus.
yeah.
What the hell are you doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? I mean, what do you do at 3 in the morning with
Freaking
car
closing car deals, man.
at
When
3 in the morning?
Yeah, when people say no over and over and just keep staying there because they want to be sold, they're like, no, you got to say the magic words. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll play this game. I'll find the magic words.
F that.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm getting anxious just thinking about it because I hate those games. I hate those games. I just want to go there. That's why I'm very happy about some of the disruption that's currently happening in the car sales, with Carvana and stuff. I think
online now.
It's a start. It's a start. My daughter did that with her recent car. She bought it on Carvana, and she's had this isn't a commercial, not sponsored. She had a really good experience. She got a decent vehicle. She got the price she wanted. She knew exactly what that price was. There wasn't any extra hidden fees. There was no surprises for her. So I love that that's a start. We're not there yet, but it's a start, and that's going to.
Yeah, that is one big change that's happened. Not just that, like the availability of being able to purchase them online, but also the pricing, like the whole give me your best price thing. Like a lot of the dealerships now, what you see online is not going to be the same as what you'll see on the window or on the sticker, because the online price, it's like, please come get this thing, get it out of here. We need to sell, get it out of here. If you took the time to look online instead of driving around, you got the better deal. Let's go. So, I mean, a lot of them are doing that now with like that, the no haggle pricing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Carvana, all your car shopping needs.
I didn't even know they had a jingle.
I just made it up. Just because you were saying it wasn't a commercial.
That was very good. I thought that was it. I thought that was like Carvana. This guy's got something for you. You know. I thought that was the real jingle. I haven't seen a commercial probably in 10 years. So I had no idea.
I'm anti-commercial. I see a commercial on. I'm like, no, turn it off. I don't even care what we're watching. Turn it off.
We avoid advertising as much as possible. I was going to ask about that though. Is did you really like it? So was there a point that you did like it? Maybe when you first started selling cars, did you enjoy it, or Willie was it? I said Willie was it? Willie,
yeah,
not really Willie.
Not Willie.
Silver Quake. So did you liked it when you first started selling cars?
I did, and for a really good reason, because I was too shy at the time. After my hand accident, I didn't really get like that end of high school experience or college experience or anything like that, which, I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I still did my thing and didn't worry about it. But as time caught up to me, I was like, it realized that I left myself out on a lot of things because of it, and a lot of social skills as well. And I didn't even know how to talk to people at all. Like, I wouldn't go up to somebody. Like, I was that weird dude that would like be in the elevator, like turning one foot going, I got new socks. So it really brought me out of my shell is what it did, and got me over my fear of talking to people. So, I mean, honestly, the first year or two that I did it, that's all it was to me, was truly just building relationships with people and speaking to them and learning about their experience, because I was just so, and still am, just so genuinely curious about every person's individual life and story, because, you know, we all have our own. But so that's what it was at first. And then like what really got me was I left one of the dealerships I was working at because we had one of those like 1970s sleazy car salesmen. This guy would tell us stories about throwing people's keys up on the roof and tell them they're not going anywhere and stuff like that. So I was just like, you're the kind of person I punch when I'm asleep and dreaming.
Yeah.
But he ended up moving to the dealership that I was working at, and he was part of the reason that I left that dealership. So it was kind of weird for me there. And then they started asking me to lie to the customers, like people that saw through, you know, could read between the lines and knew, you know, how the financing and how all the payment stuff and all of that worked. If they knew, like, they would come in and be like, look, this is where I'm at. I've already got a pre-approval. I know where I'm going to be on my rate. I know where I'm going to be on my payment at this amount. If we can get to that amount, that's all I need. So they would, you know, differential would be the trade in most cases. So on the trades, a lot of times they would, BS the salesman even and tell us, hey, give us a story in the beginning, like, hey, you're making $3,000 on this trade right now. Go out there and try to hit them for 1,500 under that so we can make the extra 1,500 on it. When in reality, you were making like 6,500 on that trade and they didn't want to give all of that up. So it was really the salesman in the mid to late 2000s, 2010 or 2000s to like 2015, 18 before things changed. Like that's the kind of mentality that they were. The salesman was the mediator between the sales manager and the person buying the vehicle. And it was just that like weird mix up middle person to be in between. And it was just like, look, I'm done with this. I was like, I can outclose my sales managers. It's like some of them I couldn't, and I still look up to them just because of their sheer talent. But yeah, so I ended up moving up from there, switched to a different dealership and started working in internet department from there. But yeah, it was it ruined it when I was being asked to lie. And, you know, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to. Like, I looked at them in the managers in their face. I was like, no, you go effing lie. I like sleeping at night. I have a soul. I haven't lost that yet. Like you have. You go do it. You want to lie to them so much? You go do it. And it got to that point. They promoted me after that. Like 2 days later.
You showed backbone, I guess, right? Or did you get promoted in a position that actually would pay you less with less commission or something?
They promoted me to a better position where I had a lot more leads and a lot more opportunity.
Okay.
At the time, the best thing I was at was the phone, like selling on the phone. Like the guy that would call you from the car dealership on the phone. Yeah, I was good at that, like getting the appointment and setting the appointment and getting them. Like I had other people paying me to call their customers and get the appointments locked down for them.
I liked you. I did. I really did. I liked you. When you started out, I thought you were a good person, and I thought we were going to have a lot of fun here. But
I know this is why I had to change my life, though, Rico. I did it for you. I knew this day was coming. I've been counting it down for the last decade, and I've changed my life. And I finally hit a point now where I'm like, he might like me now. There's a 50-50, but we may be there.
I think you erred on the right side there. You moved to the right side. You moved the needle. Sean Peck always likes to talk about moving the needle and doing something. Or is it Sean? No, it's Rack Cross. Rack used to always talk about moving the needle to the positive side and doing positive things. And it sounds like you've definitely moved that needle. I've never worked in a situation like that where I ever had to be high pressure and try to convince people. It's not for me, because I don't want to convince people. I figure you know what you want and need, and you come here and tell me what you want and need, and I'll take care of it. That's the kind of person I am.
Yeah, that's usually how I was with all of it until they started like hitting us with, you have to say these, that you have a script now. So when somebody says this, if you're not following the script, then we're going to take away your leads or whatever. Like they wanted us to all be automatons and say the same thing. And that way, when the manager would come out to seal the deal, they knew every step of the way what was said and how it was said. And I was just like, no, not everybody's going to respond to that. I was like, everybody's different. People are different. They're not going to like that. I was like, you're going to find a couple of them that do, or that, just go along with it and see it for what it is. Just like, really, this is a joke, but whatever. This is funny. Pull out their phone and start recording it.
Yeah. I've been on that side too. I've definitely been taken advantage of buying a vehicle, and I've also done okay and, gotten through it, especially later, like early in my life a few times. But not horribly so, but still, I know that I could have got a better price. I could have got stuff I wanted. I never paid for any extra crap, but I know, and I dreaded it every single time going to the dealership. Even a couple of years ago, they tried to do something. It was quite a few years ago now. It was probably 15. It seems like a couple. We went and did a test drive, and we were looking at it, and then we went home, and they called us and said, "Hey, let's do this. This is all ready for you." And we go in, and it's totally different. Totally different car.
Yeah.
Totally different car. Wasn't even the car we test drove. It wasn't even the same model. It wasn't anything. And I was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
I know what
like,
happened
no.
behind the scenes on that. I know exactly what happened behind the scenes on that. Manager said, "Hey, call this guy, get him in." He was like, "I've tried, I've called. He either doesn't answer or is like, I'm just waiting for this and this and this." He was like, "Fine, give me the phone. I'll call him," and just says whatever comes off the top of his head just to get you in and to say, "Hey, yeah, we've got it. We've got it. Everything's here. Everything's set. It's all great. Yeah. Just come on up."
And we got there, and then they showed us the car, and I was like, what's, and we left. We just left. I was like,
yeah,
we're never gonna. I mean, come on, how?
Yeah,
it's not even a car we talked about in any way, shape, or form.
Yep, I've been put in that position by my managers before, and I was like, no, I'm not going to show them this car. The car they wanted just sold 15 minutes ago. I was like, this is a different color, a different trim package. They're not going to go for this.
And you might get that sale one time, but that's it. You're not getting that person ever back again. We've gone to the same place now for our last 3 vehicles, and I've always been happy. My daughter bought hers on Carvana, but we have a dealer that we found that, friends know the people that own it and stuff, and maybe that's a difference. They've always treated us, good. And again, I'm sure they're making their money off of it, but at least there's at least enough of a level of trust that I know I'm not going to get just bent over without any kind of lube. At least they're spitting on things first. So
yeah, that's why I just do all my car buying through the bank. I don't even deal with the dealership. I go to my bank and like, look, this is what we're wanting. Here's our credit. Pull it all up, see what we can afford, see what we can buy, and they'll give us our rate, how much we can spend on it, what year it needs to be, the minimum year, the minimum or maximum mileage, all of that. Be like, here's your range for the best rate, and that's how I do it.
We've been talking about car buying for about 20 minutes now, so I think we should move on.
Yeah.
We did our Carvana commercial and everything else.
Yeah.
But, you said something way back that I wanted to come back to too, was, the hand accident.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go into that a little bit. So when did that happen? And,
Yeah, so that was the summer of my sophomore year in high school. July 22nd, 2002. Full 03 p.m. Stargate. A buddy of mine that lived across the street was moving and like out of state, far away. And I'd told him for a while that I'd build him a speaker box for his truck, because that's what we all did. We had the big boom booms in our trucks back then, riding around out in the sticks, pissing people off for no reason.
Yeah, I was just gonna go there.
Yep.
Hate those.
Yeah. I had my S10 had speakers in the bed of the truck, and then I had a camper over it. So of course it just rattled like crazy. Yeah. It was so awful. But he was leaving, and I was like, well, here, I'm gonna build your speaker box then. So I went back there, started cutting the speaker box, started cutting the wood, got into a hurry is what it was. I didn't look at the blade. This table saw was like from 1952, and there was no safety, anything on it. It was a metal plate with a saw blade sticking up out of it. And it was about a 2 foot by 2 foot box with the metal plate on it. And I wasn't even paying attention, but the blade was sitting there doing this.
Jesus.
So I'm cutting particle board plywood at here, I'll see if I can show you. I'm sure I've got something in here. That's not going to work. Instead of cutting it square, I was cutting at an angle to make a triangle. So I was cutting a triangle out of a square. So cutting at that angle, I hit a knot in it finally on the right wobble, and the board kicked back and slammed my hand back and over and on top of the blade. And when I tried to pull back, it just kept boom, 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 like catching and catching and catching into it.
Oh,
So it threw my hand into the blade about 3 or 4 times before I finally was able to pull it back. And it happened so fast that like shock hit immediately, and absolute denial hit before then, because I just stopped what I was doing. I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. All I could do was think. So I just thought about what happened, and I was like, no, that didn't happen. I felt something, but that was just the board. That I didn't just cut my hand on the saw. No, that didn't happen to me. I'm too cool for that. I was like, I'm the extremist dude that rides dirt bikes and does martial arts and that everybody looks up to. I was like, I'm that guy. I was like, I didn't just do that. And then I looked up, and on top of the ceiling, which was a metal roof, there was blood all over it. And then I looked down and saw the blood and the sawdust, and then looked down and just saw it pouring down the side of my pants, like down past my knee. And that's when it hit me. I was like, I have to accept this. That did just happen, and I need to act fast. So I didn't look yet, because I knew if I looked, it would be done. So I wanted the shock before the adrenaline, if that makes sense.
gotcha.
So I was trying to keep that shock level and not let the adrenaline like fully take over me yet. So that way I could still think and function, because I was 3 acres away from the house. I was down at the shop. I still had to make it from the shop to the house where my dad was about to get into the shower. So I was like, I've got to make it up there, or I'm going to bleed out. I was like, I have to. So I started walking up that way, and then like I bobbled a little bit out of dizziness. So I was like, okay, I need to look. So I finally looked down, and it was just mangled. It looked like I had a pound of raw meat sitting in my hand. I don't know if it'll show if y'all are queasy, but
let me put you on
the cut line starts about right here, goes across here, and then you can see right here to here is where it completely took that whole section out. And then on my pinky, from here to here. So it went like this, that, and that across.
Wow.
So none of these, my thumb was intact and my index finger was kind of intact. That's as far as I can straighten it now, though. So it's great for measuring a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
or impersonating the predator.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking Bob's Burgers, because that's what their hands look like. If it was bright yellow, it would look like
there you go.
Character from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, I had a couple buddies call me Teenage Mutant Ninja Tommy. But so these 2 fingers were still like mostly attached. This one was completely, this one, my ring finger and my pinky. So my middle finger, my ring finger, and my pinky were just dangling back behind, hanging by skin. And like I still remember seeing the tendons, like how bright and opalescent and pearlescent the tendons were. And it didn't freak me out like in the sense of like being scared. I don't know why. I don't know why it didn't like scare me like I'm gonna bleed out and die. But I ended up running after I saw my hand. I was like, I got to move fast. So I ended up running and jumped a 5-foot chain link fence that we had and cleared it in one leap. Ran up into the house and told my dad, I was like, we've got to go to the hospital right now. He was like, why? So I held my hand up, and I kid you not, this 6'4", 255-pound man moved like a bolt of lightning. He was in a towel, about to get into the shower still. He was only wearing a towel. The moment the door shut, the door opened back up, and this man was fully dressed with his truck keys in his hand. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was just bam, like that. I don't know how he did it that fast. So we hopped into his truck and started heading towards Fort Worth, because we weren't going to stop at the hospital out here. That's where you go to die. They've got a really bad reputation, our local one. So we started headed into Fort Worth. My dad called 911. We ended up having he was doing like 90 something miles an hour. heading from Azle, Texas into Fort Worth. And about the time that we got to the lake that I was telling you about, the bridge to cross that lake, we had a cop pull up behind us and try to pull us over. And I had my hand wrapped up in a towel. And I was just like, man, really? This cop's giving us flack right now? So I made the genius decision to unwrap my hand and roll the window down and stick my hand out the window and show the cop.
Oh, good.
And that cop turned his lights. He turned his lights on, like all of them on, and just went, go, 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 go. Like
Jesus.
bolted in front of us, cleared a path. I guess like at that time, about that time, he'd found out 911 had already been called, and there was a helicopter en route to pick me up. So we ended up meeting them just on the other side of the lake. It used to just be a field right before the Lake Worth Fire Department, where it is. And now there's like some car wash or a Chicken Express or something there. But the paramedics at the fire department started working on me immediately, cleaning me up, checking my vitals, getting everything going. That's why if you ever hear me talk about like first responders being the freaking heroes of this nation above the others, your first responders out there, y'all pay them respect. There's been more than one occasion where those people have saved my life. I would not be on this planet a dozen times over. I would not be on this planet if it were not for first responders.
Jesus, so a dozen times you've had different run-ins with that, different things happen.
Oh, I've had a lot of accidents. Like I said, I used to ride motorcycles and stuff. I flatlined at Cook's Children when I was 9 years old from a motorcycle accident.
Jesus Christ.
Like had the out-of-body experience. It was like 10 seconds that it lasted. It seemed like 10 seconds to me, but yeah, it was crazy. But sorry, somebody.
I stubbed my toe really hard once, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, same thing.
That stuff hurts, man.
Jesus
I hate
Christ.
stubbing my toe, especially at night.
And it's cold. And anyways, Jesus Christ.
I was joked about a lot when I was a child and said that my parents were going to put me in a bubble. Like they really heavily considered putting me into a bubble because I was so accident prone.
Let me ask you, are your kids that risk takers too today? So good. Because you're getting paid back what you did to your parents.
Well, no, my son already lost the tip of his finger.
Jesus.
They sewed it back on, and you can't even tell. But yeah, his one of his sisters, which I won't mention because they still fight over it to this day. One of his sisters slammed a door while his hand was in it, and it popped off just the tip of the skin of his finger. And I was like, man, you didn't have to try to be like your dad that much. Come on. So I was making jokes about it the whole time he did that. And I ended up while we were heading to the hospital, or after we got to the hospital, while we were just waiting for everything to go through, there was a Walmart right next door. So I went and bought one of those old timer pocket knives. And like wrote it to him and gave him a card for it. And was like, you can't have this. I think I wrote until you're 13 or 15, said you can't have this, but this is so that you remember when you cut the tip of your finger off.
Give him a knife to commemorate cutting something off.
That way he'd remember his cool story. He could make something up about it or whatever later on.
Couldn't you just get him a Hot Wheels or something though? I mean, a knife to commemorate cutting.
Well, that's why he's not getting it yet.
So the paramedics, and I agree 100% with what you said. Our paramedics, our first responders, they don't get the respect or the pay that they deserve, big time. And
they don't get anything they deserve.
No,
they are angels.
Yeah, and we've got a few of them in our community too. I know, Skipper's always the first one that comes to mind, but yeah, definitely. So you were you made, well, I don't know about an angel. He's pretty much an asshole, that guy, but he's our asshole.
He's a sheep in wolf's clothing.
he's my friend, so I'm allowed to say that. So you made it to the fire department, and they cleaned you up pretty good and stopped any blood loss and stuff. And then did you take the helicopter the rest of the way, or?
We did. The helicopter got there, and about 3 seconds after the helicopter landed, my mom pulled up from Arlington, which is about 25 minutes away. And I think me and my dad were in the truck for like 7 minutes before we made it across the bridge and got to where the fire department, that field was, where Care Flight met us. So somehow my mom in 25 minutes in 7 minutes made a 25-minute trip in her Pontiac Grand Am GT. I could imagine what was going on in her head, but she was so panicked she started running at the helicopter. Like the paramedics or the pilots were like yelling at her, "Stop! You're heading right toward the blades. Stop!" She didn't listen. She was like, "My baby!" Just storming across the field like 100 yards, running it in like 4.2, man. And gets over there, gets tackled by the pilots because she almost runs right into the helicopter.
Yeah.
But they finally get me up there, and they've pumped me up full of morphine at this point. So I had a very interesting helicopter flight from Lake Worth all the way to Parkland Hospital in Dallas. That's where JFK went, was Parkland.
Oh, okay.
So just to know like the kind of area, everybody's looked up all of that and looked into that conspiracy or all the conspiracy theories of that. But yeah, they care flighted me to Parkland and immediately started working on my hand. I didn't really know what happened with what in all of it, but I just remember everybody was really panicked. I was doped up on morphine. All of the buildings when I was in the helicopter looked like anatomical features, and I was pointing every single bit of it out to the pilots. So like seriously, it's going all the way over downtown Fort Worth and then into downtown Dallas, all of the tall buildings, like that one looks like, insert, joke there. But yeah, there was hundreds of them. They were laughing at me. Not with me. They were laughing at me.
I wonder what Freud would say about that.
Oh man. Oh, I was 16, so of course.
And
but, yeah,
wow, that's so I didn't know any of that. Mm-hmm. I knew that you had something severe happen, but that was all. I didn't know, and I'm sure you've talked about that and stuff on different places, but
I ended up having surgeries for a year and a half, 2 years after that. I think seven total reconstructive surgeries on it. No, 7 reconstructives and 4 plastics. 3 or 4 plastics.
Well, I mean, it's obvious, right? Because you're missing the digits, right? The digit. Yeah. But otherwise, it doesn't look, at least we can't see it on the camera. It doesn't look,
it just depends on whether or not I burn the hair that grows between my finger really weird. They did a weird skin. It freaks me out. So it's okay if it freaks y'all out too. They took a piece of skin from down here on my arm. You see the scar here. From here, that big one, that wasn't me doing anything weird. They took an artery from here running down my arm.
Gotcha. We see it there. Yeah.
And then that was where they took the skin graft to help like rebuild and add skin. So they put it in between my hand or in between my fingers down here, and the hair from my arm grows in between my fingers. And my wife always knows,
it's not like ass skin or something, or
have some white tuft, some downy fluff between my fingers.
Excuse me.
But yeah, my wife will always know when I've gotten rid of it because she'll smell the burning hair. Because I just take a lighter to it and just and we'll burn it off. And then like 3 months later, it's there again. I'm like, when is this gonna stop? It's like not even in an area that grows hair. Come on.
Electrolysis or something that I think there is a way that they can.
That would hurt so bad.
It
would hurt so bad. Like that area is still super, super hypersensitive. Like I haven't got all of the nerve feeling back from like the area between here. So certain areas I'll touch, like just doing that feels like somebody's taken like 100 tattoo needles and gone all at once. So there's a couple areas that are still like that to this day, but it's gotten better and better. It took years and years and years for all that to go away. My whole hand was hypersensitive for, oh man, up until probably about 9 years ago. So it's about it was a good 10, 11 years. It was super hypersensitive. Could tell when the weather was changing though.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
because I know people, and I myself even a lot of times with the barometric pressure changes can feel stuff happen.
You can feel it. Get achy. It's achy and crampy, and it's wish I could pop it or just do something, move it, but it won't.
Do you ever flip people off with that hand?
I do, because I can get away with it because I don't have a middle finger.
Yeah.
So when I'm like this, not only does it look like awkward as hell and a dying insect.
Wait a minute. We got to put that. Hold on. You got to do
nobody can even take it serious. It's like, what am I? The penguin? Danny DeVito, the penguin, like trying to flip somebody off.
So, do you think there was any positive that came out of that whole thing? Was there anything positive that happened because of that? I mean, did you learn something different about yourself, or about life, or about your parents, or anything at all, really? About that whole, even today that happens because of it. Is there anything along the way that?
It changed a lot. I don't like to admit that it did, but I mean, it really did, because it kind of took, like I was saying earlier, it kind of took me out of the whole socialization thing. From 16 to 18, I had no social life. I mean, I couldn't. I was too busy having surgeries and recovering from surgeries and going to physical therapy every day, and then picking the scabs out of the scars and underneath all of the stitches that were there every day. And I was just like sitting there like, freaking hate y'all, but thank you so much. I love you right now.
So
I love them ladies. They were awesome.
Have you I mean, did it change you as far as risk taking? Are you still the same type of risk taker today?
No.
So it sort of took that out of your character a little bit because of that, you think?
It sneaks up on me every now and then. Like, it definitely will. Like, there's some times where I'm just like, I need to put the pedal to the metal, and like, can I go jump out of a plane, or can I go like can I go skydiving? Can I do something just crazy right now? Can I go ride a wheelie on a motorcycle at 110 miles an hour, standing on the seat, going over a bridge for like an hour and a half straight, waving at cops as they pass? Like, I get those itches.
But you don't do
crazy.
it now, though.
No. I think it gave me more common sense. I lost a finger and gained common sense.
Yeah. Hey, it might have saved your life. If you said a dozen times you had been, in serious hurt. Maybe that was something that saved your life. We could speculate all day, but I mean,
the universe saying, "Hey, it's time for you to slow down. You only get so many chances here, Brahim."
Yeah. Did you work at all before that happened? How you were a sophomore though, so you probably didn't. I mean, you live in a farm area. Did you do a lot of farm work and stuff like that, or did you?
Oh yeah, when growing up, the farm that we grew up on was owned by a Marine buddy of my grandfather. And he had a few houses on it, and had a house up on top of his hill on 172 acres. So it was like a mile-long driveway up this hill. And we ended up getting that house up there is where I did, the majority of my growing up before we moved to the area we're at now. And he had all kinds of cows and was involved with every big farmer and commercial farmer that was around in the area. And I got to watch all of those old boys pass away and watch all of their farms get taken over by corporatists and or the corporate greed scheme that had to do with all of the dairy farms and stuff. It sucked. It sucked. But yeah, all of them put me to work. Are you kidding? When I was old enough to carry a shovel, they're like, help, come here, boy. Like, no.
So
Yeah,
you worked in those places and stuff, and after that happened and you were healed, is that when you went directly into the car stuff and started working on cars, or did you have some other jobs between the time you healed up and
yeah,
what kind of stuff?
I actually worked a lot of jobs in between, but I always sought more excitement, so I didn't stay at very many places very long. But I did work at Albertsons in the service deli for like almost 2 years, and while I was working there, I also was an opener for. I don't know if y'all have heard of Spring Creek Barbecue, but I was an opener for Spring Creek, so I would go in at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning there, depending on the day and what we had smoking at the time or what needed prepared at the time. I would go in there, get everything prepped for their lunch and get all of the stuff prepped for, all of their rushes for the day, and would leave there around like 2 o'clock and head straight to Albertsons and close at Albertsons, which was originally at 9, and then they switched, or at 8, and then they switched the hours to 9. So we were usually there till sometimes like 9:30, 10 o'clock, sometimes a little later, depending on what we had to do that night.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I worked both of those jobs for a while. That was right after my hand, because I was just gung ho. I was like, the world's not stopping me now. I was like, I don't have the pain. I can function again. Here I come. So, I mean, I went gung ho into it, got burned at a couple of jobs, burned out of a couple of jobs, and
burned as in them taking advantage of you, or burned?
Yeah, just like treating people
treating
people like crap, not treating them like they're human, treating them like they're a number. It's like, no, bro, we all go to the same bathroom. I don't care if you're my manager or not. I've always been that way, though. I was a trouble child in school with my teachers for that too. They couldn't sell me any BS, and I let them know. They actually ended up putting me in what was called the behavior improvement class, which was a part of special education. So I was a special ed kid from 6th grade to 8th grade when they finally let me out after all of the psychologists and psychiatrists that the school demanded that I see went up to the school and said, there's nothing wrong with this kid. Y'all just don't challenge him enough. I was like the poster child for ADD, ADHD in my town, and they exploited me for it every possible chance they could. I had a teacher that had a vendetta for me about all of that, would yell and scream at me and like blame it on, having ADD, and call my parents almost every day, demand that I get spanked by the principal almost every day. I'm like, look, lady, I'm just bored. I was like, you're boring. It's like, you sound like Ben Stein reading English literature. It's like, no, man, come on.
Bueller.
Yeah, exactly. And here we will study the different systems that make up what a paragraph is and the structure of the sentence.
So you just had to stir things up then?
No, I just would be accused of not paying attention or like not following along. I'm like, I am following along. It's just I'm bored as well.
Yeah.
So I would tap, like, I don't know if you noticed, but I don't sit still at all. So that was the biggest thing, was I wouldn't sit still. So if I wasn't sitting still, they assumed that I wasn't paying attention to what was going on.
Yeah, but you just had to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
my kids are like that too. My kids, not all of them, but both of my boys and my wife, actually, she's like that quite a bit too, where sometimes the legs just got to move or whatever.
Coffee doesn't help.
No. Yeah. Now, what about your kids now? How did any of that sort of show up in your kids as well? Because you said risk taking and stuff, but are they, having trouble in school? Do they do well in school? Did any of that sort of transfer to your kids at all?
They were, my 2 girls were in public school for 3 years. And there was a debacle with, how do I put it? With the firewall and the accessibility to what the kids had via the internet at the school and what was going around. So I was like, yeah, I'm not playing this game anymore, and pulled them out. But while they were there, no, they were star kids, star
Gotcha.
students.
Okay.
I'm so freaking blessed. Like I
Yeah.
can't stress that enough. And I count my lucky stars for that every single day. My kids are awesome.
So they
Absolutely
have
awesome.
a lot of your wife in them then.
100%. That is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
The parts of me that they have in them are I want to go jump in this hole in the ground that's at least 10 foot deep with metal sticking out of it and see if I can pounce off of it like in the video games. But no, my oldest, actually all of them really, I mean, any of them could sit here and have this conversation with you as well. Like they're very much conversationalists and like not afraid to talk to people and enjoy it and love it. Like when we would go to our friend's house, they wouldn't be hanging out with the other kids. They would be sitting with, like, the girls would be sitting with all of the ladies, just having conversations and be the star of the show, having conversations with the ladies, just telling them about their life and stuff and telling them about our birds and what all sounds they make and stuff. But I do homeschool them now.
Okay. And being home all day. Well, I mean, even though you've got your stuff you do around the house, at least you've got the time to focus on that. And yeah.
They definitely help.
We're actually already an hour into it, but there's so much more I want to talk to you about. But I don't want to keep. I know, an hour went by just like that. So we're definitely going to have to. There's a lot of people that are going to do part twos, and you definitely need to be on the list for that. But I don't want to keep the chat, waiting any longer. And
well, I promise I'm not the car salesman anymore because we focused on that so much. I completely changed, like did a 180 turn with that and sold my house that I had out there with enough equity to build what I have here with the cash left over, and was like, I'm never doing this again, never being involved in anything like this again. So don't think that I'm still that person.
Ricky De Hoyos gave us a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Hope you're doing better today. I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit. Kenny, hello. Member for 13 months says, whoop, whoop, 13 months for his membership chat. That's amazing that we've got members for that long. And there's Josh Metalhead. Welcome to Josh is now my bottom. One of my bottoms. Mark Strolson with the $10 dues. Smash the like, y'all. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Scrolling down. Right now, I'm just looking for those because I know there was there it finally jumped. So I might have missed some other ones in there too. I saw it pop up. Somebody else had joined membership too, but I lost that. So let's just say again. Hey, I love, what is it? Gold. I love gold.
I love gold.
Okay, I didn't know what that was. And thank you, sir.
Powers, gold member. And they painted a Yuhush gold.
Okay. There we go. So 8:02. Oh, I forgot. A lot of times you guys can't see the timestamps, but Dolbeck is the first one I see. He says, Rico Stan. He wants to know what your favorite public aquarium memory is.
Oh, that's easy because I blasted it on my shorts too. And I'd love if I end up.
Sounds really odd to say. Blasted on my shorts. It sounds,
Blasted my shorts on and went to town, man. No, the Dallas World Aquarium. Being there, that was absolutely awesome. That is a great aquarium and just all around tropical nature indoor refuge there with lots and lots of stuff in it. It's like a maze going around it, and you're in there we were in there for an hour, and I felt like we were I thought we were moving too fast, and it still took an hour. And there was a couple of times I was like, wait a minute, where are we? When does this end? I mean, I'm not complaining. That's awesome. But we were just up in a jungle, 20 foot above everybody else 2 seconds ago. And now we're at the bottom, and I'm looking at arapaimas and red tails. But being there was really cool. I think my favorite part about it was the penguins, because I really like penguins. And when we saw the penguins, it was just like proud dad moment, because all of the kids were like, "Oh my God, I love penguins. They're my favorite." And I'm like, I did good. That was me. And it's like, they're going to
Nice.
save the penguins someday. That's what's going to happen.
And it's just weird to think about penguins being in Texas. It's just it's sort of a
Mhm.
weird.
It's
Lady
indoor.
Rorschach. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Although the last couple winters, at least for a few weeks, you could have had them outside. Lady Rorschach says, "I'll get my Alan Alda question out of the way. What is something that you really wish you understood?" So there's actually two of them. Well, that's the first thing. What is something that you wish you understood so well that you could teach people about it? You really just, you understood 100% that you don't currently understand.
That I don't currently understand.
Something that you would just love to know everything about, to where you could be even considered an expert on it.
Oh man, it'd probably be two things. It'd be really cool to be like Joel Salatin level intelligence when it comes to sustainable farming and agriculture. Like, the dude has it down, like the perfect pairing of nature and human involvement with that nature. It's just beautiful and gorgeous. That would be one. And the other would be like structural engineering.
Hmm.
Because I'm always
Okay.
building and stuff like that, but I only build because I've made a lot of mistakes. So, but yeah, I've always been building stuff. Like, even when we lived up on that big hill, the guy that was a buddy of my grandpa's, it was a Marine buddy of my grandpa's, he owned and had a huge cabinet shop at the bottom of that hill on that property. And I'd be in there all the time making stuff like little shoe shelves and bookshelves and stuff like that. And so I started making my own furniture for my room at like a really young age, even if it was just like something silly like that would be compared to like when you got those little box cars that you had to nail the wheels on and stuff.
Yeah.
They look a little bit rickety, but you're
car
like, I
derby.
built that, and it's the best thing in the world right now.
Yeah.
So
I think structural engineering. So you were obsessed with like buildings because of what you saw on your helicopter flight. I think that's why. I think that's really what.
I think that's what it is. The
What it
infatuation
really does that.
carrying on.
And then the second part of that question from Lady R was, is there a book that has changed your life?
Outside of religion, God, this is where y'all are going to paint me so weird, but I'm okay with it because I'm weird. William Line, Lyne, William Line. If you are interested at all in anything about electronics or science, real science, not the 99% empty or 1% space that we can touch and feel and study, but all of the other science, William Line is your guy. And I don't even want to tell you the title of this book. I just want to call it the short version, Occult Ether Physics. I'll piss it, I will. It's Occult Ether Physics, Tesla's Hidden Space Propulsion System, and the Conspiracy to Conceal It. Now, here's the neat part about it, is the man puts all of the graphs, all of the patents together in this book. He has all of the math down, figured out, explained, with redundancy on how that whole system works. And people today are still like, oh no, that was a failed experiment, it didn't work. Yeah, it did. But nobody could make money off of it because it was all free energy from the atmosphere and stuff like that. So that one really, like, when I read that as a teenager, like, really got me into like the science side of things and got me science brained on a lot of things, to work. Because I always like taking things apart. What kid doesn't take apart their like Nerf gun and reverse engineer a lawn dart into a bow and arrow, but I really enjoyed that.
Let's see. I'm looking for the, popping out at me. Oh, here we go. Brookley Bell wants to know if you have any weird talents physically besides his hand. A lot of people like wiggle their ears or, can, anything like that. Is there anything you can do? I see your nose. I don't see the ears. Are you wiggling your
I
ears?
don't know that I think I used to be able to move my ears because somebody challenged me to that when I was really, really young, like I think in 4th or 5th grade, and like me and one other person, it was a girl, left-handed. I remember her name, Lindsay, left-handed girl, couldn't move her ears as well, and we were like the only ones in class that could. And then I never tried it again. Like she taught me how to do it. It's just like, no, you just got to think about this spot and then move like right over here, like behind your head. Think about that, and I started doing it and never did it again. But no,
Left eye, Lisa.
Lisa Left Eye.
Yeah.
I had a Molly named after Lisa Left Eye, but it turned out to be a boy.
Oh, did he go chasing waterfalls?
He did. He chased too many of them and fell into 2023. So that's completely okay now. I still call him Lisa Left Eye because I'm like, it is 2023. It's acceptable. It's okay. And if not,
there's been some super chats, and Eduardo dropped a membership, 5 memberships. We'll get to those. Thanks so much. And also, thank you guys. There's been a bunch of super chats. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. But Eduardo is going to be our guest for Saturday, a special focus on, and we're going to probably start doing a few more Saturdays because there's some people who just can't do Tuesday nights. It just doesn't work out because their work schedule or whatever. So we're going to have a few more of those. But this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eduardo will be our guest, and it's good to see Eduardo. Okay, Zenny, hi Zenny. Leftover PTSD, like from the main accident or any of your accidents, really, because you said you had quite a few. Like, can you hear the sound of a wobbly blade from a quarter mile or anything triggering like that? And how long did he wait to touch another table saw? Well, you went to work at Albertsons in the deli, and you must have been cutting stuff there.
I made so many jokes about the slicers. Like once I became capable again, I was okay with it for a long time because I laughed at it. But I mean, I guess like looking back a few years ago, like maybe within the last decade is when I finally started looking back on all of that and was like, okay, maybe that was just like me just kind of bottling it up. Because there are certain triggers, like I'll think about something or I'll hear a certain sound like sawbone hitting or metal saw hitting bone. There's no other sound like that in the world. I've never heard that sound from anything else other than saw hitting bone. And it played on TV one time and I heard it and I was just like, oh, it took me back for a while. Like I was cringy and couldn't think about anything. As far as like PTSD, I'm sure. I never really went and got or sought help on that, mostly due to how I was treated in school, having to go see psychologist after psychologist after psychiatrist after psychiatrist after Rorschach test after Rorschach test and IQ test and placements and all of these crazy things that they made me do. But I was sort of like, I know what they're gonna ask. I already know all of the rules to it at this point. I lived it for like 4.5 years as during the developmental stage of my childhood. So I was like, I could be the psychiatrist at this point.
Yeah. So it was almost abuse at that point. The fact now that you probably couldn't really go to therapy because of that time. It's almost abuse, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I ended up going and seeing somebody a while back ago to talk to somebody about it, but for a very short time. And I was like, okay, that was like just to know, kind of understand it. And I was like, okay, it was everything I thought it would be, but it was still good to talk about it. Still good to air some things out, regardless of what bias I had going into it in the first place. So, but it's definitely had an effect on me and who I've become and how I am. And there are some inferiorities that I will naturally kind of cling to in some ways because of that, because it hasn't really stopped me from doing a lot of things, but the things that it has stopped me from doing were pretty impactful and hit hard. One of the things with structural engineering, I can't put on a welding glove. I can put on smaller, just like little deerskin gloves and stuff like that for working fences. But when it comes to thick, heavy duty gloves, I can't wear them. So doing thick, heavy duty work, I couldn't do. And that's what that's what I did, what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then the other one was trying to join the military. And that one, I got this close. I was so close. I was about to sign the final paperwork. I'd gone through MEPS. I'd already taken my ASVAB, had gone up to MEPS, and had to strip down and squat down, slam my knees on the ground, squat down and do the duck walk and all that good fun stuff. And when I was signing the paper to find out where I was going to be shipped out, I think it was Staff Sergeant Pitsulka at the time, came up to me and was like, "Hey man, they said you need another waiver because of my hand." They were giving me excuse after excuse after excuse. They're like, "You can't join the military because of your hand." I'm like, "Why not?" I was 18 years old, man, oh man. I was like in the prime of my life at that point, especially with martial arts. Like it was all I did was eat, sleep, and breathe. Like it was work and martial arts, work, martial arts, work, train, work, train, work, train, work, train. Nothing else existed in my life. Not even girls. I didn't even, secret, didn't even lose my virginity until I was 21 because I was so hyper focused on everything else. Like my brain was just naive to the thought of, hey, she's into me. My phone just messed up on me. Sorry about that.
Oh, we didn't see anything. It looked fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, it was started playing the background to the stream. It got me distracted. Forgot where I was.
You were just hyper focused. You didn't even really date or do anything like that.
Yeah,
because you were just were really into physical fitness and martial arts. And
yep. So that's why I like going into that situation.
What got you into that? What put you into that? Because of things? Yeah, because of that.
I was going to overcome it. I was like,
gotcha.
I am all about. I don't know if I can cuss on your show, but
sure.
The one time I will here is I am all about kicking your inner bitch's ass as much as you can. Like I really, really am. Like I try to suffer to myself as much as I possibly can because I see the health in it. Not like chastisation, anything like that, but just suffering to your own body so that to know your limits. And really, when I started doing that and started doing the martial arts and getting more physical with things like that, it lightened my urge to want to go do crazy stuff that would like probably get me hurt and jump huge jumps and do all of that weird stuff. So it took away that, and it helped me overcome a lot of the things with my hand because I got really, really good. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I got really, really good at martial arts, like to the point where if I didn't have any self-respect, I would probably be making money still to this day doing fights.
Really?
Yeah. I was good.
Like what would you be doing? Like mixed martial arts? Like what?
Oh yeah,
what type
I'd be in MMA. 100%. I would be in MMA. I don't know if it would be over here or in Thailand, but it would be one of the two, or even probably in Japan.
How tall are you?
6'4".
Yeah, I thought you were a taller person. So not that makes any difference or anything. I just
I'm all leg.
Yeah,
I'm short torso. It's so weird. Like my torso's like this, and then my legs are everything else. And
you're lanky.
Yes.
Now, real quick, I want to get back to the questions. real quick, did you ever do any pranks while you were working, like at the deli, and like put ketchup on your hand? And,
Oh yeah,
oh my God, and
all
stuff
the
like
time,
that. And,
all the time.
yeah.
To almost
I mean,
everybody that came in, everybody, or before, if I knew somebody didn't know about my hand and they worked there,
yeah.
especially, we would work it around it, be like, oh my God, this is like the best opportunity. Yeah, we got this one kid really, really bad, some really young, naive kid. And I think I traumatized him for life, acting like I cut my finger off on the slicer, because he almost peed himself. He was so scared.
Beautiful. Okay. Mountain Greenery, hello. And again, there's more super chats and stuff. I will get to those as we go down. So again, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate that. Myrtle says, my regular question. So do you know what Myrtle's regular question is? He's been asking this since the beginning. So you're number 80 something, 88, 89.
Yeah, Myrtle and Brookley both have a regular question, right?
There's actually quite a few. Mountain Greenery also is here.
Yeah.
She's right there and has one as well. Bunny Viper's got one. Myrtle's is, what would you change about me?
Oh, yeah.
And what would I change about you? So, and I've had a really hard time recently with every one of them. Like, what would I change about you? So I would not take away what happened to you, because like I sort of was, we talked about, it sounds like it, and I hate to say this, but it sounds like it was sort of meant to happen because it might have saved your life. And it actually was a positive, because it brought you sort of back down, and otherwise you might not be a father today. You might not have 3 amazing kids and a great wife, and you might be gone or just a broken husk of a person. So yeah. I wouldn't change that about you. Yeah, see, I hate to say it. I just have not had anything for like our last 3 or 4 guests. I just don't come up with anything, because part of the bad things that happen in our life makes us who we are. And so I don't want to take those things away from people. And a lot of people have had the same for me too. They say they would take, the health issues that I have. But myself, I'm just going to say that the health issues have actually made me in some ways a better person, because I've stopped, just like you. I've just been a different person. I've tried to I've been more understanding and more empathetic and more open to different people, and not so judgmental. That's where I want to go. So it's a difficult question, Myrtle. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's very clear that, man, I would change this about that person, because there is no positive side to it. It's not something that made them who they are. It's really a heavy load for them to bear. But you don't seem like you have that. You seem like you are in a good place. You seem like you're happy. You seem like
took a lot of work to get there. It was a lot of struggle getting there. A lot of mental struggle. Like that whole PTSD thing, it did get me for a long time, until I finally realized, I was like, oh, this is why I'm just like, have a short fuse towards this or a short fuse towards that. And I was like, I'm just like throwing my life away with not feeling joy and not giving myself as much of a chance at joy and happiness by being like this. So that kind of was, I started learning that when I was in car sales. So it was part of what got me out of that as well. There was a lot of things that got me out of it, and they all hit like at the same time. I could say the only thing that I would change about you is that actually that we would have been able to hang out when you were younger, because you got to go see a lot of shows and a lot of concerts and still get to. I didn't get to. I got to go to crappy, stupid little rinky-dink shows that people look at and would be like, dude, that's what you went to? That was the show you saw?
It's still live music, it's still live music. It's still going and seeing. But I definitely, that was what we did. That was everything. That was what our life revolved around, was going to shows. I mean, that was life.
I loved music, and my mother loved music. Like my family is so musically driven, but I never really did it. Saw POD at Six Flags. Saw Hoobastank in Dallas, and it absolutely stuck. Oh, it sucked. I like Hoobastank. I don't
you
like
said
them
that
live.
before. I think you said that before. I think you said that because I remember somebody saying that, and or maybe it was Acoustic Hookah. They said they saw and they hated. Anyways.
Oh, I hated it mostly because of the experience afterward. The train didn't take us back to Fort Worth from Dallas, so we had to walk the train tracks from Dallas all the way back to the west side of Fort Worth and Haltom City, and it took us about 6.5 hours.
Jesus Christ.
With my buddy wearing flip-flops, us having no water, just leaving a concert, no food.
Yeah.
Our phones were dead because we were using them for lights and recording everything the whole time.
Yeah, that's weird to me too, because it was all like, I'm older and it was lighters. It was lighters. And that's not that, that was probably a common thing up to about maybe 2000 or so probably. But
it was the first time I'd ever seen it. I was like, they're holding their phones up. So I busted out my Nokia.
All right, let's move along then. Bunny Viper. Hi, Bunny Viper. Then again, this is her regular question. And I love these. Because it adds to the show and it becomes a part of it. Because, I don't feel like this is my show, even though it's on my channel and you guys are giving me money, but I don't feel like it's mine. I feel like it belongs to the community, right? And I love that people like Ivy and Myrtle and Whip and Zenny and everybody else all contribute and are part of it. That's why the whole second half is all about the chat, because it belongs to everybody. That was my goal, and I feel like that's where we got. Anyways, her question is, would you rather fly or be invisible?
Ooh, fly. 100%. Fly.
Yeah.
Being invisible would be cool, but I don't know. There's a certain part of me that likes to show off a little bit.
Yeah, if you're invisible, and
then I can't show off at all. Like, I'm not a huge show off, but I'm a little bit of a show off, like in the sense that everybody kind of is on a base level a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, we all have a nugget of it.
Yeah. So I think that side would ruin invisibility for me, but I definitely would love flight.
I think the invisibility would be bad because I don't care. Even your best friends are going to vent about you sometimes. And I think if you were invisible, you would hear that. And you would think that they no longer were your friend or didn't like you. Because I know I have heard friends say stuff about me that they didn't know I could see or hear it. And it's incredibly hurtful. And it makes you feel, because if it's just anybody else, it doesn't matter, right? It's not, right, I say that, but it still bothers me. But if it doesn't bother me near as much as if it's a friend, somebody that I trust, that I consider to be a friend, and you see them saying or doing something like that, and a lot of times they don't really mean it. They're just venting. They're just upset or frustrated with you a little bit. They still care for you. They still are your friend.
Had a bad day and you caught them on the wrong side of the coin.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you're going to take it the wrong way. So that's why invisibility to me sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Berto. Hello, Berto. Berto's on our list too. Garcia Aquatics is on our list too for the focus on. We'll be getting to him at some point. And thank you so much for the $2 super chat. It says, hey, you. Lady R. Follow-up question pertaining Alan Alda. What's your favorite episode of MASH? Did you ever watch MASH? Did you like MASH?
I loved MASH. I made a memorial quail chicken tractor that is a MASH chicken tractor. I even took a picture of it and put a grape knee-high. Do I have it in here? No, I don't have it in here. That's probably smart. It would get broken. And put a grape knee-high on it behind where I wrote the MASH with the little asterisks on it. And then on the roof, I put the Red Cross. My favorite episode. Oh, man, that's hard because the last episode is the one that made everybody cry.
Is that the one
when it was goodbye and he is saying he's not going to say goodbye, and then when he gets up into the helicopter, he sees that he arranged goodbye in the stones and everything. It's like, he did care. It was his best friend, man.
Yeah. I was thinking of when and I forgot his name now.
Beej?
Harry, no. the
Radar?
lieutenant, the guy who ran the place before Sherman T. Potter, before he came in.
Before Potter.
What was the guy's name? What was it?
Oh, I said, before Potter.
He died, right? He was going home, and his plane crashed, and he died.
Yes,
that was a tearjerker. I forgot his name, though.
Remember his name.
I mean, I haven't seen those episodes since probably the original airing. You know, you know,
no,
I've got a good excuse.
Watched them.
See, I got a good
binge watched them.
It's been forever.
Yeah, I love
so that
it.
would be your favorite, though. The end when they show that part. You think?
Probably that, or when Radar is doing the rabbit, or they're doing the races with all of the animals and end up trying to get or con Radar and end up conning Radar into giving up his rabbit and his rats and all of these things to do these races, and his animals start winning and he's like, but those are my animals and you're hurting them. And I was just like, I feel for you, Radar, man. I got a lot of cool animals too. I love Radar.
One of my favorite lines from that was when Frank Burns and Hot Lips were getting,
Hot Lips
getting into it. She said something about him being nice, and he said, "It's nice to be nice to the nice." And I still use that all the time. And another line that made me laugh so hard when I watched it, as a young man. Again, the original airing, so whenever that was, 1974, whatever year it was. Frank Burns ran off, and he took his gun and his toothbrush, and Hawkeye, one of them said, there he goes, shooting his mouth off again. And for some reason, that took me all these years as just hilarious. That he only took his gun and his toothbrush. He's shooting his mouth off again.
Yep. Oh yeah, their humor in that is like every time I watch, like I've binge watched it so many times, and every time I do, I find new stuff in it. I'm like, they took it another level. It's got layers to their comedy. I love it.
And it was before its time, and of course it was about the Vietnam War, not the Korean War, but it was too close to that happening, so they had to, put it back to the Korean War.
Yes. Yep. To not make anything any more heated.
And I won't go into it, but I had to watch it on the sly because my dad refused to allow us to watch that show. So it was, we won't go into it. Nano Aquarium guy, hey Jay, he wants to know your favorite genre of books, movies, and TV. Is it the same across all those? Do you read much? Do you like to read?
I don't read much, but when I do, it's usually quasi-religious, spiritual, fantasy kind of stuff, or science stuff.
What about movies and TV shows? Do you, is there any certain thing that you really? I mean, obviously MASH, but is there any certain types of?
I used to love horror movies. Horror movies were my favorite thing in the world, and I loved making fun of horror movies. So when like Mystery Science Theater and stuff would come on, I was like, this is like the best of all worlds. It's like Seinfeld meets horror movies. Yeah. So anything with a sense of humor, I really like it. But now I'm more into like weird, naive, silly British sitcoms and stuff like that, and different sitcoms from like around the world, like things that I normally like. I look at and I think if I was 18 and watching this show, I'd be like, "What are you doing, dude?" But then I thought about it and remembered, like, I grew up watching things like I Love Lucy with my mom, like watching Black and Whites and I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched and things like that. So it's like, okay, I get it. I'm a product of my mother.
Is there anyone that stands out for you? Like an English comedy or anything that?
Oh man,
IT Crowd or I mean, is there anything that really?
I love Rowan Atkinson. That's cliche. My favorite shows right now. Oh my gosh, what's her? Patricia Rutledge. I absolutely love Patricia Rutledge.
I don't know if
She's
I know who. I bet as soon as
uh,
I saw her, I'd know who it was.
have you ever Keeping Up Appearances? The Bucket Woman, Hyacinth Bucket. It's not bucket, it's bouquet. And please mind the Royal Dalton with the hand-painted periwinkles. She was suburban, just above suburban lifestyle, but lived like the world owed her everything. Like she was royalty and deserved to be dining with royalty and in the presence of royalty all the time. And then there's the Royals. I like the Royals as well.
Never watched that.
Father Ted. I freaking love Father Ted. That is like 90s dry humor all wrapped up into 3 Irish priests that are banished to an island outside of a toxic waste dump.
I've heard of that, and I've never watched that either. I need to go back.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a little. They wouldn't show it today. Like in today's world, you wouldn't see that on TV anymore. But
gotcha. Lady R says, as a Jim Henson fan, what is your favorite Muppet and/or Muppet creation, like Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, Dark, those types of shows?
Oh my gosh, I love Fraggle Rock. I love like all of the Muppet stuff. But I definitely think I'm gonna have to say that my favorite here is probably Kermit the Frog.
Very good.
Indubitably.
You sound just like him. Good job. That sounds just like him.
Oh, well,
do you do a lot of? I know you do voices. I've seen you do other stuff, but do you have like a huge? We can't get into that. Let's not, because we're already.
That was my boredom in high school, like doing
Yeah.
voices and stuff at the teachers. Like that's like the worst thing I would do is do voices at them. Like, did you turn in your homework? Yes, teacher. I just finished that. Like, I did not have any issues with my homework last night. I'm telling you.
Stephen P wants to know, if you were a wrestler, what would be your entrance theme song? That's a good one.
Oh man, it'd have to be something so stupid because it would fit my sense of humor. Something by Katy Perry. It would have to be something by Katy Perry. Like the Eye of the Tiger, like that song by Katy Perry where she's the Eye of the Tiger song. Probably something like that. Just so that people would be like, what?
Let's see. Scrolling down, and again, I know I missed a lot of comments and stuff. I'm looking for the @Rico Stan, so it pops out. We are a half an hour behind in the chat, so we're gonna pick it up a little bit here. Out of all the breeds of chicken that you had, and this is from Lady R, what's your favorite?
Anything related? Okay, there's 2 for different reasons. As far as like. So there's different things that I look for. I look at laying and sustainability, and I also look at posture, like their ability to like show off their stance, So in that, and like the posturing, show off kind of stance and looks, I like the old world, like the old game birds, like that a lot of people use for things they shouldn't use, which I don't, but they're beautiful birds and they can handle themselves.
What's an example of that? Like ring-tailed pheasant? No. I thought you were talking about totally different types of birds, not chickens.
No, I'm talking about.
I was thinking about totally different, like
the
quail
the chickens that they use with the same thing that they do the fish for, to not say the trigger words.
Yeah.
There's some gorgeous ones that come from that, round heads and blues that come out of those that are just wonderful, beautiful birds. And then my favorite layer and meat and sustainability and personality type, besides that isn't like a fancy Polish that has like the cool little afros and stuff, would be anything that has the Ayam Samani gene in it. So like the Ayam Samani, the Mystic Onyx, the Ayam Samani I can't remember where it comes from, not Indonesia. It's a type of bird that is completely pigmented, like fully pigmented, like even their meat is pigmented. There's no lack of it at all. They're solid black. The feathers are black like raven's wing, where they shine purple and green and pearlescent, beautiful black. Their skin is black. Their meat is even darker and has a blackish tone to it. It's a delicacy in their area, and they're very, very expensive too. But people have learned to get those and start crossing them with other things to still develop those same looks and traits without it being that, you know, $175 for one bird, or a bird and the hen and the cock.
And there is a joke there about, you know, being all black and the name of the male chicken. So we're going to skip over that.
He does have a huge long train of feathers.
Zen Ginger wants to know, rather be stuck in a pool with 1,000 chicken-sized great white sharks, or get stuck in a pen with one great white-sized chicken?
Oh, I'll take the pool with the chicken-sized great whites over just a shark-sized chicken.
Oh, no, just the 1,000 little.
Yeah, I'd take the little sharks over the one big chicken. That thing would eat me in one bite.
Yeah,
or it would try
Did you ever see Food of the Gods? The movie Food of the Gods came out like in 1974. There was this stuff that came out of the ground. All the animals that ate it got massive in size, and there was a chicken that did that and was, you know.
Oh man!
There's also rats and worms and flies and bees.
See,
and
my brain's going like total like horror side of me right now. I'm like imagining a chicken like pecking at somebody's head and doing their little shake thing. And,
there's a rat that chews a guy's face off, and now it looks cheesy as hell. But when I was a kid, I mean, I don't know how old. I was early 70s, but it was, you know, it scared the hell out of me. It looked real.
That's what makes it better. I love like cheesy movies, cheesy graphics in movies and stuff like that, like Mars Attacks and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
it's just like so obviously cheesy.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, this wasn't meant to be cheesy, though. You know, it was
just because of the era.
Exactly, they didn't have it. So Myrtle says, follow up to Steven's question: what would be your theme song in general? So just your theme song for your life.
Pink Floyd Echoes.
Very good. Pink Floyd is always a great choice. And there's Eduardo with a $10 super chat, dude. Thank you so much. Awesome. Says Rico and Tommy love this focus on. It's spelled interestingly, just like his email was that way too. Totally night. Best fingering story.
All right. And I haven't even started on that.
Ladies,
insert shocker jokes here.
And he gave also, after that $10 super chat, he gifted 5 memberships. And Chris Aquazone, thank you. New Local Austin, Craig's Catfish Cave, Dave Farrell, and Jen Yu all got them. So very cool. And thank you so much. And Stephen P said Thanes and Stuff with his 13-month, a member for 13 months. Just amazing. Again, it's just
I like that.
And
stuff.
Real quick, while we're on that, and it just jumped on me, so I got to scroll back up. Sorry. While we're on that, you know, everybody knows Silver Creek just hit 1,000 subscribers. He does need some watch hours, so I think he's going to put together maybe a playlist for us to hit, right? Maybe something like that, so you can get your hours.
I'm going to try to learn how to do that. Yeah, I'm going to figure it out.
Some watch hours. So if people have some time and you want to load up some of his videos to help out, him and John Oliver is in the same boat. John
all shenanigans too.
So total, you know, if you guys can. What I do is John has a playlist of a bunch of his long form videos, and I just load that up and let it play through. And I think Tommy's going to try and do the same thing. So keep your eyes peeled. Mountain Greenery says, asking this question for Big Cat, who has to work tonight. Does Tommy believe in aliens?
Man, it's so hard to answer that question without hitting other topics.
You can say yes or no if you don't want to go in depth. You don't need to.
I
quantify the
do,
answer.
but it's weird. I believe there's more
Because
to
of your
it. I believe
beliefs.
I do, but I believe there's more to it. I believe there's
Okay.
more to it than that. Yeah, I've just got weird beliefs, dude. Just altogether, the things
And
that
you
I
know,
believe are freaking weird.
I don't ever judge people, or you believe what you believe. But the only thing is, and I anybody who's been on, we know we don't ever talk religion and politics, and just because they can be such a contentious topic. So I try my best to steer away from them. So
I will say that I don't care what anybody believes in, as long as they believe in something bigger than themselves. As long as you believe in something or have faith in something bigger than yourself, that's all that matters with how I
to
am
me,
at
all
the end
that
of the day.
matters is that you treat people with kindness and respect. That's
golden
really
rule.
my biggest one, is that respect people right out of the gate, and treat them with kindness. Always err on the side of kindness, and I think everybody will get along. That's all that matters to me. Lady R says, what has been the best place you've ever went rock hunting or fossil hunting?
Ooh, so far Arkansas, but there's still a lot of places to go. Like, we really want to go. Tim Crypt Keeper was telling me about a place that is near him that I'm definitely wanting to go check out, because they have a similar, or it's the same rock, but since it's not from that place that like copyrighted the name of it, it's the Herkimer Diamonds.
I've
They
been
can be
there.
found at this place in New York, and then in Arkansas you can find Herkimer Diamonds in Arkansas as well. But recently, I don't know if it's recently, I'm not going to say that, at some point in the timeline they switched the name from Herkimer Diamonds in Arkansas to just calling it the Arkansas Diamond. But it's the same kinds, and you can find them about the size of, like a good one's about the size of your pinky nail. So I mean, they're not huge things, but
yeah, it's still fun. I've been there to Herkimer, not specifically for but to that area, and also there's a place not too far from there called Howe's Caverns. That's really cool because it's an elevator that takes you deep underground, and there's a restaurant down there. But then there's also like a boat ride through this old mine shaft, and they've been opening it up and making it bigger. So there's stalagmites and stalactites, and so part of it is they have a Halloween thing down there that's a blast with music and stuff, and it's the part of it is very touristy and stuff, but then you can get off the road a little bit and see some things that are still pristine. So okay,
and that's
we've
Howes?
only got Howes, Howes.
Oh, okay.
Howes Caverns. We actually went there for our anniversary one year. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so about 13 minutes left. So if hi Whip, this is Whip's question he asks all the time. Whip. So you've got all the money you could ever need. You don't worry about money. Money's nothing. You don't have to worry about it. What would you be doing with your life, and where would you be doing it at?
I would be on a remote island that had very high elevation, because I know what comes with living on an island. And it would be mine. All mine. No, honestly, I would probably make the island a zoo. Like, I'm like crazy kid dreaming here, but I do that. Like, I want to live in a zoo with the animals, like with the lions. I want to sleep with the tigers, sleep with the lions. I want to wrestle bears in the morning to get my mojo going. Let's go. And I want to save all of the sea turtles and keep every penguin that there is known to man.
Like it. I like the island idea too. We've talked about that numerous times ourselves, doing that. So I'm gonna go through these as quick as possible here now. Okay. I don't want to lose any. Are you thinking, and this is Lady R, are you thinking about traveling to Fossil, Oregon sometime in the future? If so, I'd love to go with you. There's awesome Cenozoic fossils to discover there.
Fossil, Oregon. I've never heard of it, but I'm going to check it out now. That's up our alley.
Very definitely up our alley.
Yeah.
Scuba Steve, what's up, Scuba Steve? Wants to know if you're going to the Clash or any of the fish events coming up, Aquashella or anything.
I'm going to try to. It's going to depend on how well I do with the current endeavors that I'm working out the kinks on with growing plants and things of that nature. So
which ones are you trying to go to? Clash, Aquashella? Do you have one specifically
I'd
in
love
mind?
to go to the Clash and to Aquashella Dallas. I'd like to go to Aquashella Dallas and Aquashella Florida and just get that vacation up in Pennsylvania, and then get the vacation down in Florida, because I love Florida too. It's hot. I like the heat. I like the cold too, but I like the heat. So Florida's up my alley. And the one here, I would love to.
Gotcha.
But it's just going to be contingent on how much building the infrastructure that I'm working on at the moment is going to end up putting us back. So
gotcha. I'm so looking forward to the Clash this year.
I want to go
super excited. I'm pretty sure we're going. It just depends on some things. But I mean, somebody bought tickets for me.
That's awesome.
Scotty, the other day, Scotty, Fish Freak, said, "Hey, just so you know, somebody who wants to stay anonymous bought a ticket for you and Michelle, my wife." Michelle, we never buy a ticket for it because she doesn't care about it. She doesn't go see the speakers or anything. But they bought tickets for both of us.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I've said it a bunch of times. Thank you, but thank you from the bottom of my heart for whoever did that. Zenny wants to know, could you please describe the rest of your ideal life in 5 words? I think that's a very hard question.
Save all the freaking turtles.
Okay. Like it. Dapper Dennis says, I'm not sure I have to ask, but who would Tommy like to meet in history? Who would it be? He's saying.
Oh God, that list is never ending. Like, seriously, I've thought about that so many times. It would come down to if I had a time machine or not.
So let's say you do, and let's say it's only going to work one time. You get to meet one person. What would be the top of your list? And thank you, Dennis. That's Dennis's regular question too.
That's a good one. Oh my gosh,
you can go anywhere. Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, ask me another one, and I'll keep thinking about that one.
Okay. Ricky De Hoya says 2 days in a row. Can we go to 4 or 5 days? And we're probably talking about streaming. Ricky is a good motivator for me. We talk sometimes, and he definitely helps with motivation. Silver Creek's birthday is coming this weekend. Oh, well, happy early birthday.
Yep. Sunday, I believe, the 19th.
You believe. You believe. You don't know.
I haven't looked at the calendar yet.
Okay. At least you know it's the 19th. That's a good one.
Oh, hey. No, it is.
And thanks, Ricky. And there's Beto Garcia. Happy birthday, Silver Creek, with a $5 super chat. And again, thank you guys for all of those amazing super chats.
So one of the first men.
Go ahead.
Like one of the first men, like the first caveman, or what were they? Cro-Magnon man that like first started communicating and learning, seeing what their actual like form of communication was. And I think that would be cool. Like trying to figure out an ancient way to like communicate with somebody from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other end on the timeline. Just like solve all of the problems in between.
They probably,
reality, I guess.
They probably kill you like 5 minutes after, because you'd
be like, "Ooga booga, let's go. We'll box. Put up your looks. I like a 50 style boxing, eh?"
And thank you again, Garcia. I was going to say, mods, have you? I know you probably do because you guys always do. But have you dropped Tommy's link lately? Make sure you're dropping that so anybody that is not subscribed can make sure they do. Hi, Don Gallagher. Lady R says, describe the training you have enacted for your Catahoula leopard dogs. I'm always curious to learn about people's canine training methods, especially for livestock. Now, that seems like it's going to be a very involved answer. So try and just do because again, we got about 7 minutes left. Is there any kind of special training you need to do because so just the basics,
just the basics. Those Catahoulas are so smart. We got so lucky with them, like so lucky. Our younger one, Atlas, he's a little more of a I'm not going to say a hothead, but he's like I was saying earlier, that he's the emotional one, like the emotional support dog. So like getting on to him and teaching him something is a little bit different. He was a rescue, so it's probably a lot of anxiety or mistreatment. So I feel weird about the disciplining him in the same way that I would discipline or redirect or behaviorally correct the other Catahoula.
Yeah.
But no, they pretty much wanted to do everything on their own. Like as soon as they saw the chickens, at first they wanted to go after them, and there was just an overwhelming urge to herd the sheep, to herd the peacock, the geese, the chickens, everything that he could move around and run around and chase, he would. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to start working with him. I'm going to put him on a leash, walk him around the property, kennel him, teach him where his spot is, his place to sleep, so that way he knows his spot. And then started going out into the coops with him. And it was a very, very slow process, but it only took me like 3 weeks, of work with him, 3 to 4 weeks, going out there really slowly with the leash, just getting him used to the birds. And once he realized that they were a friend, that they were here for us, and he realized that they give off eggs that he loves snacking on, he stopped trying to mess with them, and now we'll go after them, like to collect them. Even the quail, he picked that up from watching us. Like he will go after our quail and grab our quail with his mouth and bring the quail back to us if they get out. And he just got that from watching us, because every time one would get out, we turned into, Lucille Ball. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? It's my quail. So, he was like, oh, this is a traumatizing experience for them. Is there a way I can help, I guess? So.
Yeah, I've heard that they're super smart dogs, and I didn't even know anything about them until SC, Cat House, I call him, since he came around. What's your favorite? And hi, B Wizzle. What's your favorite band and why?
Pink Floyd, 100%, hands down. There's no other. There's other music out there that just pulls at your heartstrings, but I'm sorry, David Gilmour playing guitar, if you don't feel that in your soul, every single chamber of your heart when he's playing, there's something wrong with you.
Favorite album by them? I love it.
Oh yes, but it's an offshoot album. Other than Adam Hart Mother, their orchestrated album, it would be the Live at Pompeii album, the album that they did at Pompeii with no audience at all. They just did it to sing off the souls of Pompeii into eternity. And I was just like, that's the most beautiful freaking thing somebody could have done. And that's where I learned of Echoes. That's the first time I heard Echoes was on that track, and it was that version of Echoes. And I was like, I want this played at my funeral.
Yeah.
I was like, if no other song, play Echoes, all of it, part 1 and 2.
Probably a lot more cliche, but Dark Side of the Moon, I still to this day, but I can't just listen to it in parts. I got to sit down and listen to the whole thing. And I do every few months I play through again. Although nowadays with streaming, they always put a little space in between. Like when you listen to the record, there's no space in between the songs. It goes smoothly, but there's a little space, and it takes me out of it a little bit.
Did you like a Division Bell or Piper at the Gates of Dawn?
Oh, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, was okay. I really think my favorites, though, are more the middle there, like what Animals, those middle
Metal,
3 or
Dark Side,
those Brick in the Wall, and those few 3 or 4 middle albums were my favorites for sure, by far. Okay. I'm scrolling down. There's a lot of. See, we're so far behind that people are just talking about. We were talking about MASH and Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake.
Oh yes,
we were so far behind in it that I'm going to skip over some of the questions, you guys. I'm sorry, because we've only got like 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to scroll down towards the bottom. And I'm sure I missed some other super chats and everything else. Let's see. There's Zen Ginger, member for 10 months, like 5 more weeks, and I finally get my purple Rico head. I feel like that was definitely a nickname at some point. Love it. I know, again, that I missed a ton of them. I'm at the bottom of the chat now. So that's a good time. And I'm sorry to all the people that I missed. We just ran out of time. We definitely because we did a lot of stuff we didn't get into. We didn't get into some of your other hobbies and a ton of other stuff. So we'll definitely do a part 2. It'll be a while because I don't want to do any part 2s until we've done part 1s with a bigger portion of the community, because there's probably still 300-400 people at least that I want to interview before we go back and start doing part 2. So is there anything you want to tell anybody before we leave, either for your YouTube channel or, something we didn't talk about for yourself, or anything that you want to talk about before we take off?
No, I mean, if y'all check out my channel, if y'all feel inclined to do that, I would definitely appreciate it. I'm definitely not the person that's going to be begging for subscriptions or likes or anything like that. But I'm out here doing my thing and doing it the best way that I can, and trying to learn, doing crash courses on different types of tanks, mostly with dirted. So if more natural styles and ways are your fancy, or you like weird, crazy, insane people and their senses of humor that should probably put them in the nut house, then you'll probably enjoy it.
And I'm sorry, Zen Ginger. I'm so sorry. I know I missed a bunch of the last questions. We could probably do another hour easy tonight, but I know there's other people going. I don't know if Bentley, I saw Johnny was asking if Bentley's going tonight, but there's other people going tonight. And I already go over people, but there's no way to not, but I don't want to go any farther. So Lady Rorschach, I missed 3. So I know you're just playing, but I still feel bad about it. All right. Thanks again for all the super chats. Thanks for the memberships. Again, Eduardo will be our guest this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be a good one. Vibes is on right now, Nathan said. I know that B Wizzle was going, but he was in here. We also have Eric Wyrock tonight. A whole bunch of them. So there's still a lot of good streams happening tonight. So, hang around and show some love to the Fish Fam. And we'll see you guys. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It was absolute honor. I've been looking forward to this.
Well, it was an honor having you here. Big time. It was a big time. No Eric and no Bentley, Steven said. And no Mitch. And Garcia, I did get your email. You are on my list. I will get to you. I'll start talking to you about a schedule here soon. Well, everybody go over, see Vibes. And I forgot that Eric wasn't going tonight because he's still not feeling well. And I didn't know about no Bentley. So I think Vibes may be the only one. There we go. Zen Ginger just dropped the link. So you can go check that out. Okay, let's get out of here. Clicking buttons. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.